Hey everybody, welcome back to Review the Nerds. I'm Vincent.
And I'm Mike, and today we are reviewing Suicide Squad. Yeah, bitch.
This is the latest installment in the DCU franchise. With this new movie, it tells the story of Amanda Waller, a government agent, that puts together a team of imprisoned supervillains, including Harley Quinn, Deadshot, Killer Croc, Captain Boomerang, and a few others, to basically do the missions that they can't risk sending out other good people to do. And if they die, whoop-de-shit, they're supervillains. And there's been a lot of hype behind this film. People were excited, they were pumped, they were ready to go. They're like, oh my god, this is going to be fucking awesome. But here today, we're going to discuss whether or not all that hype lived up to the final product. Mike?
You want to know what was awesome about this movie? It was great? The advertising. That's something that can't be taken from this movie, is that whoever put together those trailers and those posters is a genius, and if this movie ends up being a success, they're the heroes of that success. Unfortunately, I am sad to say that I don't think the movie lived up to that hype that was built by that awesome advertising campaign. I wanted to like this movie. I wanted to like it so badly.
Me too.
To the point that as it was going on, I kept making excuses for it. Like, I kept going like, okay, yeah, this opening 30 minutes is really spoon-fed exposition. They're really cramming a lot of stuff down our throats. But hey, you know, there's some cool moments in here. We got some Batman cameos. He's doing some stuff. Will Smith is just playing Will Smith, but he's really charismatic doing it. But yeah, he's not really Deadshot. And, you know, it just got to a point where things started piling up so much going into especially the last act of the movie that I started going like, you know what? I don't know if I can keep making excuses for this movie anymore. Maybe it's just a okay movie in the end. Now, I'm not going to say this movie was terrible or anything. It's just that, unfortunately, I was very much so on the hype train. I was expecting to be blown away by this. I was waiting for this to be the thing to pull DC up, lift them up from the ground and bring them up into the sky where they belong, and it didn't really do that. If you're holding your breath for that to happen, then you might end up turning blue in the face. The problem is it never reaches beyond being serviceable. I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
The film was okay. I enjoyed it more than if I enjoyed Batman vs. Superman. But yeah, it did really let me down a lot. There's definitely moments in this film that I liked, but there's definitely things that was like, that really messed me up. Like, I thought the editing and the pacing was off in this film. I thought they both could have used a lot of improvement, especially, and there are just moments in this film where, like, okay, I can see something got chopped here, and but yeah, I mean, I still didn't hate it. I didn't hate it at all. I just was like, always, there's a couple moments in the film that, you know, made me go, oh, cool, but they were kind of few and far between. But, you know, at this point in the DCU franchise, I'm tired of saying, oh, it wasn't bad. I want to say, oh wow, that was good, that was great.
Alright, I hate to bring up the feud with Marvel and DC, and the things, I love both properties, but the thing that Marvel does is that they consistently release high-quality material that gets everybody on board their train. Everybody sees these movies, and, you know, general consensus is always, hey, this is a fun, good movie. DC, up to this point, every movie they've done has divided and split audiences. You have people that hate it, you have people that love it, but you can't get everybody on the same boat. They haven't found the way to please a majority. Just pleasing half the audience is not going to cut it for much longer. You can't just continually, you know, put out products that are just okay. You've got to get something out there that's great. And I think that's really what bothers us at this point, is when the fuck are we going to get something that's great? When's it going to happen? I thought it was going to be this one, but now maybe it's going to be Wonder Woman. Well, if it's not Wonder Woman, then it's going to be JLA. When is it going to happen, DC?
My friends, this is the point we have reached. We have Amanda Waller, who is played by Viola Davis, and she puts in a good performance. This character, she is the top bitch, okay? She works for the United States government, so you could technically say she's one of the good guys, but her mentality is the ends justify the means. She will defend America at any cost and by any means, even if it's completely immoral. She doesn't care. As long as America's still standing and the government's there and the citizens are alive, she doesn't give a fuck what happened to lead to that conclusion. She'll take them down, and because she's fucking Viola Davis, she does a good job.
Yeah, she was good.
We'll see her again. Trust me.
Yeah, there are some people in this movie that do not get a lot of play at all. It chooses favorites and focuses on a couple characters, 3 or 4 max, to actually give some attention to, and everybody else is just kind of there. And, you know, even to the point where the opening of the movie, pre-credits, are just Deadshot and Harley Quinn, and then titles title card pops up. So we know who our stars are.
Yeah, they definitely, Harley and Deadshot definitely get pushed the most. And I think just because that's Will Smith, he's always a very popular actor, even if he has a couple of, bad movies in a row, people still love to see him. And Margot Robbie has been an up-and-coming actress in Hollywood for the past several years, ever since her breakout performance in The Wolf of Wall Street. So they're definitely pushing the two actors that are the most popular right now. Other characters like Killer Croc, he's just a brute of the team. There's really nothing much to him.
He's just a dumb meathead. There's zero dimension to that character.
Well, he's a cannibal, so yeah, meathead's probably appropriate. But yeah, he doesn't really. I will say this. Me and Mike had issues with this actor in his performance in Terminator Genesis. Jai Courtney, I thought he was pretty funny as Captain Boomerang.
Yes.
I got a kick out of him.
I will agree, he was very underused. He didn't have a character, really, but he was kind of funny on screen. He was more colorful than some of the other characters were.
Yeah. The actor who played Diablo, the villain with all the tattoos and shoots fire out of his hand, I believe is it Jay Hernandez? His character had a pretty good development and growth in the film, but at the same time, I gotta say, I'm not familiar with the character from the comics, so I don't know if he was portrayed accurately in the film.
There's some that are just forgettable. We have Katana, Slipknot. That's another one. It's kind of like, oh yeah, Slipknot was in this movie, wasn't he? For a total of 10 seconds.
Longer than 10 seconds.
Longer than 10 seconds.
I personally enjoyed Will Smith in the movie and the character. From what Mike tells me, they messed up on Deadshot.
It's not like they totally fucked Deadshot's interpretation. It's just that it was Will Smith playing Will Smith. That's my biggest criticism. Will Smith is great at playing himself. He's fantastic at it. He's made a lot of money doing it. But I wanted to see him be Deadshot. I wanted to see him be a villain. And I never really felt like this guy was a villain. They tried really hard, actually, to make him likable. They give him this whole backstory with a daughter that he's trying to kind of redeem himself to and, raise her as a father. And then they show him show sympathy for other characters, and he actually gets compassionate towards people when they're worried about their loved ones. And at the end of the movie, he's, very gung-ho about being a hero. He never felt like a villain being forced to do heroic things to me. Maybe a little bit initially, but that quickly goes away. Yeah. And that's part of the problems I have in general with a lot of these characters. This movie needed to walk a fine line of having a group of villains that are forced in doing heroic acts and they have fun doing it, but never have them go all the way to becoming heroes. I really feel like this movie, they crossed that line where some of these people full-blown became heroes at the end of the movie. I mean, there was sacrifice, there was hardship, there was compassion, it's just, none of these characters could any longer become villains in a Batman film or a Flash movie. They're all now too sympathetic. They kind of water them down too much.
I think what happened was, they wanted that, despite the fact they're villains, they did want them to come together as a team. And as an audience member, you do want to see all these characters work as a team in order to defeat the villain or challenge at hand. And I think that's what happened. In order to make them come together as a team, they had them relate to each other and start to care about each other too much.
There's one part where Diablo is telling his sad story, and some of the characters even get tears in their eyes.
Yeah.
These are psychopaths.
Yeah, which it is a sad story, don't get us wrong. It was a very sympathetic story, but it should have been just something for the audience to get emotional about.
It's like they couldn't trust audiences to be able to handle these characters the way they're supposed to be done. It's like we have to make them more sympathetic or audiences won't care. And, Natural Born Killers, the whole fucking movie is about two psychopathic serial killers that murder everybody in their path, and people love that movie. I don't know, I just feel like you don't need that. I think audiences are smart enough. If there's an entire movie made where Heath Ledger as the Joker was the main character, people would gobble it up because he was such a good villain. It wouldn't have mattered if you were watching a movie where the main character was the villain because he was so enjoyable to watch. That's what you should have done with these characters. Each one of these villains should have been so enjoyable and so rich and colorful that you just can't take your eyes off the screen with them. And they carry the movie even though they're bad guys. This movie, it's like no, we have to make them likable. We have to, or audiences won't care.
Yeah. I thought Margot Robbie was awesome in this film. I thought that is Harley Quinn. Boom, they got it. It even added a little more spice to her since now we're in a full live-action film, PG-13 rating. I thought she was great in it. I'm eager to see her pop up in more DCEU films. I think she did a fantastic job, to be honest. Maybe one or two missteps, but so minor that
So I liked her.
Fuck them. She was great.
Yeah, she also paid, well, they in general paid homage and tribute. There's even the cover of the Harley Quinn graphic novel where she and the Joker, she's in her full Jester outfit and they're dancing.
I was
and they
expecting to
recreate
see that. Yeah, there was like this one moment. It was cool.
Definitely one of the highlights of the movie, and she played a pretty good Harley Quinn. She found a great balance of all the things that we loved about the character, combining Paul Dini's animated series creation with a more gritty, real-world approach. I was completely on board with Jared Leto for a very long time. I was one of his big supporters. When people would say that he looked stupid, he even said it. Vincent talked a lot of shit in his look in the beginning. I was like, I don't know, I think I might actually be on board.
Hold on. I just want to restate that. Yes, I do not like this gangster look they gave him, but I am well aware of Jared Leto's acting ability. I had no problem with him in the role. I just had a problem with the visuals.
Alright, so every other Joker before this, cinematically, I have been like, I don't know what they're doing, but I like it. You know, it's like they're taking characteristics of the character, like basic prime things, and they're twisting it around and making it their own. And this time when he came on the screen, I was like, I don't know what he's doing. What is he doing? I just never got absorbed into his interpretation. I never got really invested in it. I didn't get the chills down my spine the way I did for Heath Ledger. I didn't laugh or chuckle the way I did for Jack Nicholson. Jared Leto was definitely stepping into some huge shoes, no doubt. The Joker is the most iconic comic book villain of all time. He has been played previously in the cinematic universe by two amazing actors. Jack Nicholson, who's an acting legend, and Heath Ledger, who won an Oscar for his portrayal of the character. So it was always going to be unlikely that anyone was going to be able to outdo them. However, I guess I was just hoping that Leto would at least match them. He just didn't live up to the hype built up by the promotional campaign or the behind-the-scenes stories of his intense method acting and scaring people on set. Now, to be fair, there were some good moments where Leto was creepy. Like, there's this one scene where he sits on this guy's lap and he's rubbing his shoulders kind of seductively, and that was really unsettling. He didn't have a lot of screen time, nowhere near as much as the advertising would make you think, so it could be argued that he could have done more with more time. Absolutely. However, I'm sorry to say that, like the movie itself, at the end of the day, I just thought he was okay. He's definitely not bad, but I didn't think he was as great as I hoped he would be. There was just something in the nature of the character that felt like it was missing. He acted more like a cracked-out street thug than the Joker to me at times.
I think there's too much focus went into him and Harley's relationship where they could actually flush the character out as an individual character. I think me and Mike agree that Jared Leto has the acting chops. So
yeah, he has the potential, but
I think I see something there in the performance. I think I see what's going for, but maybe there was something more in the scenes that were left out of the movie. But there's nothing spectacular about his version of the Joker.
I mean, remember like when we all saw Heath Ledger and we were just like, wow. There's no wow factor to his performance as the Joker.
I mean, there's a couple times where he gets a little creepy, but then there's a couple times that's like, you're just kind of a mob boss. Despite what people thought, based on the advertisements and trailers and all the promotions, he's not the villain of the movie. He's not. He's actually just a subplot that exists there to mostly to tell Harley Quinn's backstory and how she got captured and put into the Suicide Squad. That's what he is. He's a subplot. He's not even really a main character. And that's the first time we've ever seen in a live-action movie the Joker not being the villain or a main character. So that was kind of odd, especially the way they really pushed him in the fucking advertisements, but he's not really that central to the story. As we all know, for those of us who, like, especially you grew up watching the Batman animated series and into, like, Justice League a little bit, the nature of Joker and Harley's relationship is that of a manipulative, abusive one. Harley loves the Joker. No one else in the world she loves more than the Joker. Alright? But the Joker, he doesn't love her. She is just a tool for him to use.
He's a psychopath. He can't love her.
Care. He just makes her think that he does. And in the meantime, he just abuses her physically and mentally, always drawing her back. And that's at the core of Harley Quinn's character. In this movie, they make it clear that he does care about her. He goes out of his way to go and find her.
Risks his life to save her.
Yeah, that is not the Joker. He doesn't care about anyone, and that really pissed me off. That's not the Joker. The Joker does not care about Harley Quinn. He does not love her. None of that.
Amused.
This is unconfirmed. If anyone can confirm it, leave it down in the comments. I heard that they didn't want to go this way because they didn't want to show the abusive side, and like they were afraid it would diminish Harley as a character to make her seem weak or something. But no, that's her. That's what makes the character sympathetic and relatable, especially the women who've been through abusive relationships. And she's a story for young women who are still growing up who don't understand that. As to, this is what to look out for. This is what you look out for with these guys who say that they care and they keep drawing you back in. This is an important part of the character that they really screwed up, and it's not. It has nothing to do with Jared Leto's performance. It has nothing to do with Margot Robbie's performance. It's just bad writing of the script. The relationship is abuse and manipulation. That's what it is.
The other thing that's really disappointing in this movie is the villains.
Yeah.
The Suicide Squad team should come together to face something that makes sense for each individual member why they're on this team. There was a threat in this movie that was so huge and so supernatural that you were wondering what the fuck were people like Boomerang doing on this team? I mean, like, it was way too much. And for a first time out, it was too complicated of a backstory for the villains. You have so much time you gotta take for establishing each one of these characters that they did not give the proper attention to really establishing these villains. And it's too big of a thing. And once again, it involves destroying an entire city. What is it with the Snyderverse of DC where cities have to be destroyed every freaking movie? And it, once again, of course, involves a giant CGI splooging finale where CGI is just everywhere and giant CGI creatures are fighting other giant CGI creatures, and I was not satisfied with it. And minor spoiler, but the Enchantress is the villain.
Yeah, that kind of blew my mind. Because once again, the advertising may look like it was really the Joker. But no, yeah, the Enchantress, also known as June Moon, because they have like an alter ego thing going on with this character, played by Cara Delevingne. Who, honestly, in some of the scenes, I thought she really was doing a good job acting-wise. You know, she's one of those up-and-coming actresses in Hollywood, and she like started out as a model, now she's acting. I thought she put a good performance because, like, you have the Enchantress, you have her alter ego who's just a woman who's been, you know, possessed by her, and she's, like, scared of being this monster, and I thought she did a good job acting-wise, but the villain, she's just like, but humanity is beneath me. Now I will destroy all of it.
They worship robots over us now. Let's destroy them. It's like, okay, did we just see this in Apocalypse?
Yeah.
The whole God thing coming back to destroy the Earth because human beings don't worship them anymore. Crap, we already got that this summer. And there's some really bad CGI and ADR work with her at the end, like where she's kind of weirdly twerking and talking this really, like, clearly ADR mystical voice.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a different actor speaking for it at that point. Yeah.
It sounded terrible.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, there are moments in the movie where, like, the special effects are pretty good. Like, there's these little, like, minion creatures that are, like, their army. They look fine to me. Some of the points with her, like I guess you call it headquarters, a big CGI splooge look fine. But then there is a point where she's got her magic flowing around her, and it does look off a bit. But yeah, the ADR is because you're not like, okay, that's not you. I mean, is this just the voice of the Enchantress herself and not the actress's voice? I mean, that I can kind of get. But for the villain, it was just really straightforward. Fuck humanity. It was so weak.
The music in this movie is used so heavily that it feels like an advertisement to buy their soundtrack. And the real issue is that the music doesn't really... It's not a signature for any one of the characters. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to the music. Like, you're like, this is reflecting Deadshot, or, this is reflecting the Joker. No, it's just a bunch of random music. In Guardians of the Galaxy, they give a narrative reason for there to be a lot of music. You know, it's all coming from the little cassette tape that Star-Lord is playing that his mother gave to him. This movie, there's no narrative reason for it. It's just non-stop.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, they're all really good songs, and I think they're just thrown in there for fun factor. I think that's really just what it comes down to. The same fun factor that got us all hyped was the trailers. I think they tried to repeat that in the movie.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I want to say this real quick. It's good songs. I think the soundtrack's great. As a matter of fact, I might even buy the soundtrack. But that's not the point. I kept expecting, like, a little blip to pop up in the corner of the screen, like, buy the soundtrack. You know,
like little subtitles in the bouncy ball, like, I see a little silhouette of a man. We all sing along. Fucking Deadshot's like, pew, pew, pew.
Actually, with the Joker sequence, that might have been pretty cool. You know, having Joker break the fourth wall or something like that to do a little song and dance number.
Oh, yeah, just looks at the camera like, all right, boys and girls, now it's time to sing along.
Damn, your Joker impression is almost better than Jared Leto's.
Booyah!
Oh man, your Joker laugh would be better too.
Michael.
So I didn't hate the movie, and I feel like there's a lot of passion coming across in my criticisms towards it. And again, it comes and stems from that kind of just feeling of kind of being disappointed instead of hating it. It's like that okay factor that fuels me, because I was so ready to love this movie and to embrace, you know, the DCEU and be like, finally, you guys can hold this movie up as an, you know, shining example of how good you could be. And it wasn't that. And because it wasn't that, I felt let down. Now, that's not to say the movie doesn't have redeeming qualities. It definitely does. I mean, there was moments I enjoyed myself, mostly in the first half of the movie. I'd say going closer to the end is where they started to lose me. This movie, progressively for me, got worse. I started off with maximum interest. I mean, there was some stuff in the beginning that I liked, even though they were shoveling exposition down our throats. But there were some moments I thought the Batman cameos were pretty awesome. I'm just going to say, like, when Batman jumped down and got Deadshot, I was like, oh! It was really cool to see him. It was really cool to see him. I really liked that. And then the sequence where he gets Harley Quinn, I was kind of into the middle section of the movie, kind of. The action started to become kind of repetitive for me. Like, it was always just like these zombie things coming out and they'd shoot them and then they'd go somewhere else. More zombies would jump out, they'd shoot them, go somewhere else. And I was like, okay, it's getting a little repetitive, and there's a lot of characters they're not really fleshing out. And then moving into the third act is really where they started to lose me. Like, when the more sympathetic the villains became... The villains, by the way, they're supposed to be villains, but the more sympathetic they made Suicide Squad, and the more heroic they became, and the more CGI they started splooging everywhere. By the time we got to the finale, I was kind of checking out a little bit.
Yeah.
There's also a great little cameo by another member of the JLA that I don't want to spoil. It's not all bad. It's just that it could have been better, and I hate to say that about a DC movie at this point in the game, because there are Marvel movies that have come out where I'm like, that was just awesome! That's what I wanted for this. And I can't quite say that. I can say it's serviceable, it does its job, you'll have some fun, but it's not anything mind-blowing great or anything.
The real strength of this movie is with the characters and their interactions, because when the characters that are fun or interesting are on screen, they're doing their thing and they're talking and they're joking or busting each other's balls, that's where the movie is good. They screwed up the Joker and Harley's relationship. The editing and the pacing, it just really took me out of the movie a lot. The exposition is just too much, especially in the first act. And all that stuff together just really hurts the narrative of the film. When you have a really interesting plot, you know, supervillains being used to save the world. That's
Conceptually, this could have been a pretty damn solid movie.
We all know, at the end of the day, we can all talk about trailers and dissect them and speculate all we want, but at the end of the day, the trailers aren't truly representative of the movie. The movie and the trailer, you know, one can be good and one can be bad. It's a good advertisement, but that's all it is at the end of the day. An advertisement. We let it trick us. God damn it, I got fooled. One thing, and I didn't hate the movie. I didn't because, like, you know, the characters were fun and interesting, but fun and interesting does not make a whole movie, ladies and gentlemen. I kind of wish it did this time, but it did not. The DCEU is really limping along at this point, and I mean, so much of this franchise is going to ride on what happens with Wonder Woman and Justice League coming up within the next year. So
one of the issues with the DCEU is they tried to make too many movies out of the gate. Before they even knew how Batman vs. Superman was going to perform, they immediately were already in production on multiple more movies. They pushed too many too soon. They should have got a feel for what audiences like, what audiences want, and then, you know, adapt their movies a little bit closer to that.
Yeah, and you know what? I really want these characters to do. I said before, I want to fucking enjoy these characters and see them in a good movie, because I was a fan of Batman and Superman, the Joker and Harley and Lex and, you know, Wonder Woman and Aquaman and all these other characters long before I was a fan of Spider-Man and Captain America and the Hulk and all these other guys.
No, I was a DC guy first.
These characters mean something to me, and it's about time we got, you know, get your shit together. All right? This is not me being a Marvel fanboy. This is me being a DC fanboy saying, give me what I want. Give the characters that we all love what they deserve. Alright? Everybody want to call me a Marvel fanboy, you take that sentiment and shove it up your ass. Alright? I am a superhero fanboy, and I want my heroes their due justice. Well guys, thank you for watching our video. We hope you enjoyed it. Please let us know whether you agree, disagree, whatever, down in the comments. We'll check them out, get back to you when we can. And if you want to see more videos, please subscribe to our channel, because we love making them. But until next time, I'm Vincent.
And I'm Mike.
And this has been Review of the Nerds. Catch you next time.
Let me show you my toys. That wasn't even in the movie. They cut that out.
I know. What's that?
Those bastards.